In this tutorial, we're going to be working on image sharpening in Camera Raw. When you open up Camera Raw, you are in the Basics panel. We need to move over 3 icons to the Detail panel. And in the Details panel, you'll notice that there are 4 options available for sharpening. You have Amount, Radius, Detail, and Masking. Whenever you're taking a picture with a digital camera, you're actually losing some sharpness from the sensors that are capturing the image. And when we're working with sharpening in Camera Raw, we're bringing back some of those details. So we're compensating for that loss of sharpness from the camera sensors. So when we're working with each of these images, we want to first put our image to 100% so that we actually could see the image at its full value. When we're first working with the amount, it works with the intensity of the actual sharpening effect. We can actually start to see this take place when we're working with a preview mode of pressing the Option key. When we use the Option key for amount, it turns the image into a black and white option so that we can actually pay more attention to the edges or the contrast of where edges from light and dark areas meet. So if we draw this all the way up to 150, we can actually see, compared to the lower amounts, that those areas of high contrast where white and black meet become much more refined. As we move forward to the radius deals with the size of the sharpening effect. It's basically talking about how far out from the contrast edges will the contrast be enhanced in order for to create the effect of a sharper image. Same thing with the radius. When we hold the Option or Alt key, it turns it to an embossed image, so you can actually start to see where those areas of contrast, where those light and dark values meet, and the intensity of those values become greater as we increase the radius, less so as we reduce that radius. So we're going to bring that all the way up to the top to just see how this image looks over the top with all of this sharpening details. The third option is Detail. Detail really works with how much contrast exists in the image in order to be considered an edge so that sharpening can therefore be applied. When we hold on to the Option key and looking in the preview mode with Detail, you actually start to see the actual areas that are in focus with sharpening. As we increase the detail, you notice that more and more of the image becomes affected with sharpening. At 100% here, you can actually see everything in the image has edges to it for that detail. As we reduce that detail, it only selects the major areas of contrast. Masking focuses the sharpening on the highest contrast areas. Also, this particular area is called an edge detection sharpening device, where when we're working with masking, it really focuses on just the edges of the image. Any area that is in white has sharpening applied to it. Areas in black does not. Areas in gray have various forms of sharpening applied to it. So as we move the masking more towards the right, it only affects the high contrast edge areas of the image. As we move towards the left, it affects the overall image in its entirety. So we're working with all 4 of these different amounts to enhance the sharpening. If you have an image that has a high amount of detail, you really want to work with a low radius setting as well as having a high amount setting for sharpening. If you have an image that has a low amount of detail, that would be the opposite. You want to increase your radius and then decrease your amount setting.